Fucking Cowboys suck. Oh, that's a Chargers jersey. Chargers suck. Is that a Danielian,
Alright, hey,
Danielian jersey?
It's your boy J-Rock. Yeah, we're gonna be doing a review of Daredevil, Frank Millers Daredevil, Born Again. This covers issues 226 to 233. So does anybody have it on the YouTube channel right now?
Let me check. I'll tell you in just a second. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, we're good?
It's good.
I think I had it on the, the other YouTube channel, and that's why you were hearing that. Alright, my bad, people. Alright, now we got all this mayhem. You know, we're real unorganized here. We're still getting out. We'll get better as we go along, as we have a few episodes. We'll start having a few episodes under our belt. Okay, well, like I said, we're reviewing Frank Miller's Daredevil. There we go. This will be covering issues 226 to 233 of Daredevil Born Again. You could find the trade. That's what it'll be titled. And then after the review, we'll be getting into some random topics, like off topics. This week we'll get into a little bit of, if you've never been to a comic convention, how do you go about it? What do you need to prepare, and so forth. Okay, but first, let me introduce my panel, my guests right here. I'll let them introduce themselves.
What up, guys? Me, 1904 Comics. You can find me at 1904_comics on Twitter. Tipping on YouTube. If you don't know me, check me out.
Tom.
Tom's on a good one.
This Tom, you know him as a Wonky Ninja.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Wonky Ninja, man. Wonky Ninja on Twitter. Minus the E, man, because I had to, you know, do something a little different on there. But yeah, man. Look me up.
Yeah, and you'll find me on, well, you know, on Twitter you can find me under the same name, J-Rocks, but it'll be J-Rocks space, or it might be underscore O-N-E. I forget. I'll put the link down below. I'll put everybody's link down below so you can know what to look for. And also, you can, for you gamers out there, you can find me on Twitch under Dr_JAY_ROX. I'll also leave a link down below to my Twitch channel for those of you that play video games. I do the occasional stream. I use it more to watch videos, but I'm gonna start streaming more often. And if I can figure out how to stream it directly to YouTube, I'll be doing that as well. So look me up right there. And so yeah, let's get this party started, guys. Okay, we'll go chapter by chapter. We'll start with issue 226 and 227, 28, so forth. So we could kind of get a flow going for the story. Alright, so what do you guys think about the first issue, issue 226?
It didn't really go with the rest of the story, kind of. At least to me. I didn't feel like it connected like that much.
Yeah, it's definitely like a kind of like a one shot, and then you get into the middle of the actual story.
Right, yeah.
227. 226 is much more of a.
Man, I thought this whole story was kind.
What happened, Tom? Yeah,
difficulties over there.
Was a build up, well, I mean, I think that he had like this whole arc thought out in his head, and that each individual issue was just building on, because there was a steady momentum in this story, like that built up from issue to issue to issue, that you know, really was working towards the end game. So like at the first, you know, I mean, it was kind of like, you know, watching Jaws or something, that you know, you don't see the shark. You know it's there, but you don't really see it, and you know that it's just kind of a steady build-up throughout the issues.
I thought issue 226 was kind of like its own thing, where it was kind of just thrown in there to introduce the Gladiator, so you could get an idea of who he is, because he will be appearing later on the road. So it was kind of its own separate issue, and it's kind of just so you could get an idea of who that character is. Because if they didn't include this issue or this storyline, when he appears later on, you won't know that he's the Gladiator.
Well, I think too, if you didn't include this issue, you wouldn't understand where Karen Page was coming from.
She been included in
I mean,
this
a lot of that was, talking about her and just kind of how downtrodden she was with her whole like abuse thing and all.
But that comes out here in issue 226. I don't see it. I don't see her being brought up.
No, she's like giving the information to Kingpin, right?
No, that's on issue 227. On 226, she doesn't come up.
Yeah, I think she did. I remember her in 226.
Yeah, 226 was just a battle. It starts off with.
I thought that was the very beginning of the story. My bad.
Yeah, that's issue 227. That basically is the beginning of the story because 226 is.
Yeah, 226 basically the Gladiator.
I mean, I don't know what exactly it is that 226 was. Now that you mention it, because that story really starts when she gives up that Daredevil is Matt Murdock.
Yeah, definitely. That's what we were saying. That's where the story actually starts. On 226, it's just like its own separate thing.
Mhm.
Also, I noticed the art changes a lot from 226 to 227. Even though it's the same artist, you really see them improve from one issue to the next. Like the fight scenes with the Gladiator on 226, I thought were really
kind of plain.
Yeah, very plain, not dynamic at all. Very, they weren't that good. And then you get to 227, and the whole style changes in tone. Like it's more serious. Even the inking, it's like more scratchy.
Yeah, even the story though wasn't even all that. It was it's like a plain story.
Yeah, it's just they kidnap his wife and he has to he's forced into crime to save her he's forced to do crime to get the money to give to the kidnappers. So yeah, very basic, straightforward story.
Yeah.
Then you get to so we could kind of just get to the next issue 227 because
the good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So apparently the artist in 226 had assistants.
That's why
on 226. That's why it looks different.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Maserati or whatever the artist on this was
had
Dennis Janke did the art with him on 226.
Yeah, that makes sense because it looks totally different. Okay, yeah, now when we get to 227, right in the beginning, the first panel, it shows you like completely different art, and it almost has like a noir type feel to it.
Mhm. Yeah, even the first panel, like that first page, like kind of grabs you. It's like, oh damn.
Yeah, it grabs your attention right away. You're like, whoa, what's going on here? Like this is something different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to be honest, man. Honestly, I don't even remember reading 226.
Yeah, it's
like
very
this entire story started for me at 227.
Yeah, 226 was skippable.
Yeah, definitely skippable. You don't need to read that issue. Yeah, so basically starts where how you said, where Karen Page is giving out information about Daredevil, about like, look, I know his secret identity. Maybe I'll sell it to you so I could get money for drugs.
For a quick fix.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's right away it starts off with a real heavy tone, like real heavy stuff. Like it's like you got this drug addict, and you got them revealing Matt Murdock's secret identity. Like it gets started. It gets the ball rolling right from the start.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that if you're coming at it from like a Daredevil TV, the Daredevil Netflix series, that seeing Karen Page in this light is, it's kind of where I hope that they'll go with her.
Oh yeah, I hope they do this later, maybe like in the third or fourth season, like down the road, because this is definitely not the same Karen Page I saw on the show. This is a totally
but I mean, in season 1 and season 2, you get that she's had something in her background that is a little sketchy. And I think that this book kind of just shows her for like being raw. Raw as she is a character, and I really like that about this.
Yeah, like so I read a lot of Bronze Age and 90s comics, and from the stuff I've read, this is the first time I've seen like drug references in the comic books. Like not the first time, but the earliest. You know what I mean? Like I read it in stuff from 2010 or whatever, but this is from 1986, and this is the earliest.
Well, I mean, I think it's like a thumbprint of Frank Miller.
Yeah, he uses that a lot.
I think it's like a thumbprint of Frank Miller that you're throwing that like Sin City, raw and gritty, just dirty stuff into. I mean, I think that's what makes Frank Miller be a great Daredevil writer.
Yeah.
Everybody before him.
As opposed to the Batman stuff I read from a similar era, from like 85, 86, or X-Men, or Punisher, which are really the only titles I read are those. And when I read this is like so much ahead of its time compared to those titles compared to the issues that were coming out from X-Men, Punisher, the issues that were coming out from, Punisher was in 88, I think, the War Journal. But when I read their stuff from 86 and 87, and then I read this is like a lot better than what was going on with those titles.
I think that's something that Frank Miller doesn't get credit for a lot of times. Is that like Frank Miller's ideas, the way that he wrote comics, were, I mean, prior to Frank Miller, you had this like traditional. This is how we're going to write characters. And, it's not 1955 anymore. We can write characters that have the dimensions of what it is in the 80s or the 90s or whatever. We can write these characters having flaws. They don't have to be the beacon of hope always.
Right.
Yeah, and this is like a lot more of a story of Matt Murdock than it is Daredevil.
Yeah, I agree with that. Big time.
I mean, I think that's something that gets looked over a lot of times with Daredevil. Is that it's like Matt Murdock's your secret identity, and you don't really give like credit to the law aspect or the human aspect of Matt Murdock. And I mean, I think that's the reason that Born Again is one of my favorite books. Is that it really does give credit to Matt Murdock just as a person.
Yeah, this has like a lot of I like how the story goes like with it's not like your typical superhero book. When I'm reading this, it's more of like day-to-day stuff going on and people's jobs and how is he gonna pay his bills, and it brings up stuff that doesn't come up a lot in superhero books at this time of this era.
Yeah, that's why like with the omnibus, the regular omnibus, I read it and I was like, it doesn't show enough of Matt Murdock's like life, which is something but Daredevil, and this one just touched all Matt Murdock and rarely you see Daredevil in it. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed that too. It was like
it's
different from other stuff from this time. It's like you see he's going to work, he's working out, he has bills to pay and going out on dates. Like it's like just regular stuff that has nothing to do with not much to do with like a superhero life.
Yep. That's.
Yeah, well, I mean, you see the scabs ripped off. I mean, you see like like the Band-Aid ripped off the wound on in Born Again. It's like you know everything about. And what I really liked about this is that you don't really introduce Matt Murdock's backstory, like how it is that he became Daredevil. You don't really have to work that into the story. You just go into the story and start talking about, him as a person.
I don't know though, because I felt on this one they like every other issue they kept telling he was blinded as a kid, this and that, the radioactive and all this stuff.
When you read the narration, they always bring that up. Like every issue, they bring it up once right away,
Yeah.
like in a panel. But that's typical of every book from the 80s, 70s. They always, every time the hero makes his first appearance in that issue, in the narration, will show you who he is and how he became that way. So that's kind of normal. Another thing I noticed, this doesn't have any thought bubbles. I don't know if you guys noticed that here. Instead of thought
Oh
bubbles,
no, it does have thought bubbles. I disagree with you there. All the stuff that is in yellow, all that
yeah,
yellow
there is
stuff is
thought, but
thought
It's
bubbles.
narrated.
it's written as
Well, I
narration.
mean, it's like a narrator, but
Yeah.
it's coming from whoever it that's taking that thought. 80s thought bubble.
Yeah, it's basically a
Yeah.
thought, but it's not having thought bubbles. It's having squares like how they do now in the modern book. At this time, this would always be in thought bubbles. So I noticed that I go, wow, here they're not using. It's like it's doing what it was doing this before other books were doing it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
I also like what do you guys think about Foggy Nelson's relationship with that
With his girl,
Carrie or what was the name?
Glory, something like that.
Oh yeah, Glory. Man,
Yeah.
I wish they wrote like they did more of this with Cyclops and Jean Grey on the older stuff when Chris Claremont wrote X-Men. Here they get real into detail with their relationship and they're going shopping and doing basic stuff. Like
Yeah.
I noticed they try to do that, but it's not written as well as it is here with their relationship. I thought that was written really well. I really liked their what was going on with them, what they were doing with them in this book. I like this a lot more. I like Foggy Nelson a lot more in the comics than I did on the show on Daredevil.
I don't really like Foggy, but I did like that in this story that Foggy was kind of showcased. Like, I mean, even with like Kingpin talking about, hey man, this guy's a great lawyer. I need to hire him, or whatever. And that he had this whole underlying story that was going on. That because Foggy to me, man, is always kind of like your ultimate wimp. That
Yeah, well,
he
he's
just
not a
kind
hero.
of.
He's a regular guy.
Yeah.
Obviously, he can't stand up to someone like Kingpin or people like that. He's just a average Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Like I really like Foggy and the girl here. Cause when I watch the show, Foggy's like I like him when he tries to be funny. That actor seems like he's more of a comedy guy. When he tries to do serious scenes, he annoys me because I don't think he can pull them off. Like he's not believable when he tries to be serious. He always sounds like he's breaking up with Matt Murdock on the show. So it's like, how could you lie to me? And I thought we don't lie to each other, and are we gonna be together forever? I'm like, oh my god, like, you know. And
Yeah, I
here,
remember. I haven't seen the first season of the show, but I
yeah,
remember in the first season he was like dating them basically.
yeah, and on this book, he doesn't come off that way at all. Like he comes off as
Yeah.
just a friend, not like a lover.
He kind of comes out kind of tough too, like in the courtroom, like
Yeah. I like the way he comes out on this book. It's pretty good.
like in the courtroom they show him like handling his business. He's not afraid to stand up and fight and stuff.
Yeah. What you think of with the issue one ended? The whole his house, they try to blow up Matt Murdock, and his whole
Yeah.
house blows up. But he's not in it, so Kingpin thinks he killed him, but he only blew up, but he wasn't in the house.
Yeah, it's crazy how Kingpin in this issue just slowly starts like chipping away at his life and everything he has.
Yeah, they start fucking up,
I
taking his
really like
house.
that panel when he blows up the house.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
house blows up, so he has no home, and all his assets, his money, his stuff is stuck in the bank. He can't get to it. You
Yeah,
really see him
I really
starting to
like that panel. Just dialogue and everything that's going on with that panel where he's talking about like he feels a vibration in the street, and then all of a sudden his house is blown up. And I really
Yeah.
like the picture when he's sitting there holding the
Daredevil
Daredevil
costume.
costume up.
Yeah.
That's a good panel. That ending, you have him standing there.
Show
And
him
yeah,
all
his house is
broken.
blown up. It's like, where's he gonna go now? He doesn't have money. He can't get to
Yeah,
his money. So
he's got nothing. I mean, all he's got is this tattered, burned up freaking Daredevil costume.
Yep.
yeah, I like where they went with it. It's like he's Kingpin is coming at him. He's coming at him sideways still, but he's not like physically threatening him. He's like fucking with him mentally and like with his life.
Yep.
I really like where they went with that. That's like I haven't seen that in a book, even in the book that until now. I haven't seen that in a superhero book.
Yeah,
I
that was
like
pretty good.
I like Kingpin as a villain,
Yeah,
and I
Yeah,
think
he's a
that
good
in this
villain.
book that like he really like graduates to that next level of a villain.
this is
You
the
know, I
earliest
mean,
Kingpin I've read, so I haven't read
he's got
anything
that
earlier than this.
maniacal pre-thought that like
Hmm.
Yeah,
or something like that had.
yeah, he's very like methodical. You know, anybody that's watching watching right now, is he like this in his previous stuff before this? Cause yeah, this is yeah, he's very methodical. He's well thought out, like he knows what he's doing, and of course this is how he always is. This is the earliest I've read from him, but here he just takes it to a whole nother level. Like,
Yeah, but you could tell like he's been playing this for a while.
yeah,
Yeah, it kind of seemed like he was sitting back and he's like, dude, if I ever find out who this Daredevil fucker is, I'm gonna seriously rain fire down on him. And
Yep.
he
yeah,
found it out, and that's exactly what he did. I mean, all that dialogue that was in, I don't remember if it was the second or the third issue, where he throws him in the cab and throws him off the pier, and there's like all that dialogue talking about I can imagine in my mind him scratching at the windows and just evil stuff, man, that's going through Kingpin's head of his like nemesis dying was
yeah,
I thought was awesome.
yeah. Here on issue 228, now we go to 228. You could really start seeing him. He doesn't know who's working for Kingpin and who gave him out that what his secret identity is. So he started seeing him get like schizophrenic, like he doesn't trust nobody, and you see him, he's even like questioning Foggy Nelson's loyalty, like maybe this guy's fucking me over, I don't know who to trust, like you really
Yeah.
see him starting to lose his mind, like
Yeah. Questioning Foggy, I'm like, dude, when you broke a guy so much that when you broke Matt Murdock so much that he's questioning Foggy's loyalty and then saying no, that can't be right, and then turning it around and justifying why it is that he's questioning Foggy's loyalty is
yeah,
I mean, at that point, I mean, that dude, that is such a, you have really broke this person at that point,
yeah, definitely, he's mentally broken, and I wouldn't say he's physically broken, but he's definitely mentally broken already.
And then he trips out and he
Oh, he's
freaking
not
chokes
physically.
out the landlord.
He's not.
Oh yeah.
Thought it was like someone trying to put a hit on him.
Yeah,
He
well,
knocks on the door, straight chokes him out.
yeah, this is like reminds me of Daniel Yellow in Goodfellas, where he's really like, I can't trust none of these fools. Like, they're all got it in for me. They think I'm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It is, fellas. Yeah.
Yep.
it's definitely where he's taking that turn where he tells the wife, remember, like, we're by ourselves, honey. We can't trust none of these guys. They're all gonna, they turn on you like that the minute they're told to. And this
And
is
that's when
definitely
he
what's
gets down
happening
and
with him
beats up the
here.
dude on the train.
Yeah, and except here he has nobody to trust. Like at least in the movie, that guy had his wife still, and they had his back. Even though she would get pissed at him, she would back him up. Here he has nobody, so he has nobody to stabilize them a little. So he's
Well, at
just
least he
losing
thinks
it.
he has nobody.
Yeah, cause how you said he went home and his house blew up, so he's like, whoa, someone's trying to kill me. His
Yep.
money is, he can't get to his money, and then somebody tosses him off a taxi cab, knocks him out, throws him off a cab into the East River. So he's like, that's 2 attempts on my life, like, who wouldn't be like, looking over their shoulder constantly after going through
I
all
thought
that.
it was cool up to that point how it was that Kingpin's plan was out. Like that, like everything the Kingpin thought his plan was going to do. And I mean, it was kind of a turning point. Kind of him throwing that cab in the water was kind of a turning point where Kingpin's plans kind of went off the rail.
Mm-hmm.
And, he had an end game, and you know, that wasn't necessarily how things were going to work out, and it kind of went downhill for him after that.
Yeah, and after that, you see that's a strong scene right there too with the cat, because you see him coming out of the water like, oh shit, and after that he comes out and he's not only does he feel like shit, now he looks like shit because he's all wet and you know and you really start seeing him take a dive like after that, like he becomes homeless.
Yeah, I really like that panel where he's laying in the alley.
Mm-hmm.
He's like all tucked up to a homeless guy.
Yeah, he's in a fetal position right
there.
Yeah. I thought that was a great panel.
You know what I thought was crazy was when he got on the train, he beat up the cop, and that one dude that pulled the gun out on him, he was like robbing people.
Yeah.
And then after that, though, he's on the phone, supposedly talking to Foggy, but then after he's done, it's the operator.
Yeah, he's losing his mind.
Yeah, he's losing his mind, thinking he's talking to Foggy, and he's asking for advice and all this stuff, and it's just like the operator.
It's just the phone, like, saying, can you please put a quarter, like...
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty trippy.
You
that
know,
was pretty,
this book made me wonder, is there a Ben Urich book out there? Like
I don't know.
A Ben Urich?
I don't know if there's a Ben Urich book, but you know what surprised me about Ben Urich? That he's white in the comic book, and he's black in the show. I kind of wish it would have been black in the comic book, because now I have like a picture of him. Like I'm one of those persons that like, however I saw him first, that's kind of my idea of what I want him to be always. Like I saw him in the show he's black, so then here he's white, and I'm like, no, like that's not right. I want him to be black like in the show.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked him in this book, and I mean, I really liked him, and I really like Ben Urich just as a character, man. He's a great like back character that.
Yeah, I thought he was being kind of a bitch. Like he was scared to. He works for the Daily Bugle. J. Jonah Jameson came out. I really like that he came out. I wish he would have came out a little more. But he's kind of like a bitch. He doesn't want to do the report on Kingpin because he's scared of Kingpin and because he's seen what he's doing to Matt Murdock.
I think that's the reason I like him so much is that that's one of the reasons that I like Peter Parker is the dynamic between like this asshole J. Jonah Jameson and whoever it is that he has to deal with, and I think that's the reason that like Ben Urich is like so like enduring to me, man. Is that like he just sits there and takes it, whatever it is that you're throwing at him, he takes it, but he's gonna get the scoop at the end of the day,
Yeah, he redeemed himself at the end definitely, but in the start he was kind of like, I was like, why don't you just fucking help, like instead of being a coward.
Yeah.
And then later he redeems himself, he grows some balls and he's like, you know what, I want to fuck Kingpin. I'm not scared of him. I want to take him down now, and we get the ball rolling.
Yep.
Yeah, but his story was pretty good. It was interesting. Obviously he had reasons to be scared too, but I think like the stuff that how Kingpin was coming at him, it seems like if it was me, those things instead of scaring me, they would piss me off. Like it's like, oh, now I wanna snitch on this fucker and I wanna take him down.
I mean, I think that's a fundamental thing about his character is that like he acts tough and he does this whole like crime scene reporting and gangster reporting and all. But I mean, end of the day, man, he's kind of a wuss. I mean, that plays out in the show too. That he's just kind of a wuss character.
Yeah, but I think he redeemed himself towards the end. He started growing a little more balls, like standing up to Kingpin and to people that were standing after him. Because there was a scene here where they're in the jail and this crooked cop's gonna try to take him out, and he went at it with him, and he ended up killing the guy. But you could see him saying even like, man, wow, did I really just kill this guy? Like, and the way you were defending us, if it wasn't for you, he would have killed us. So you see him really step it up right there when he needed to.
Let's see if I got other notes for 228. Nope.
One thing I didn't like, what you guys think about that guy, what's his name, Pablo?
Yeah, he was kind of lame.
Like a Colombian or whatever. I didn't understand. He's like basically it's an abusive husband. He gets with Karen Page and starts beating on her and stuff like that. And he's like always walking around with guns and stuff. And he's like blasting on people. He's killing Kingpin's men and shooting cops. He's supposed to be like this badass, like a real evil person. But it never explains like why.
I thought it was kind of like a stereotype.
Yeah, it was definitely like something like that, like saying like he's just
like if you
Latin.
were to
I
do like
kind of thought like saying he's like this abusive Mexican.
He would be like your chef.
He's like this abusive Latino, like maybe Scarface or something, like.
Yeah.
Like they beat on their women and they sell drugs and they walk around with guns and it's kind of like how you said, it's kind of a stereotype they threw out there.
Very much.
But I didn't get. They never explained like why does he always walk around with guns and how did his boyfriend? Why is he the way he is? Like they didn't give a background on him.
No.
Well, I knew I wasn't gonna like him from the very first moment he was in the book, because he's all like, I'm a huge fan of your films, and the drugs are gonna be, you're gonna have to pay for the drugs, but the ride will be free. And then he all like runs a hand down the side of her face, and I'm like, man, this guy is so sleaze.
Yeah, he's telling me.
I don't know anything about him, but
basically like
he's a really sleazy dude.
He's like her pimp, kind of.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like he do with runaway girls and stuff. Like, oh, here I'll give you some drugs, and next thing you know, and give you some drugs. I'll sleep with them, and next thing you know, they're pouring them out and beating on them and totally controlling their life. That's what he's doing to her here. Was this? I thought they got this kind of like from Scarface, because this whole scene where he's in the diner and all that is, like in Scarface, he's telling you're a drug addict, telling Michelle Pfeiffer. You're a drug addict, this and that, and really trying to control her, but she doesn't let herself be controlled. Except here, Karen Page does let herself be controlled.
Yeah. Oh wait, do we got a comment here?
Says the Born Again has such a hopeful ending. Okay, I have something different to say about the ending. We'll get to that right now. But yeah, this was kind of a, how you said, a stereotype about that guy. I kind of like the character because, you needed an asshole in the story besides Kingpin. But I didn't like the fact that it didn't touch more on who this guy is. It's like he's just there for action scenes and to be an asshole to Karen Page. It's more to just make her look like more of a victim. So when she's doing asshole shit, you're like, but she's a victim. She doesn't know what she's doing. She's on drugs. Like it's like another excuse. It's like they put him in the story for her to have excuses to be the way she is.
Another thing I liked about this issue was when they're out shopping. It's Christmas and all that. That's pretty cool. And then they try to rob that one chick. What's her name?
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
And then he busts them up at the dome with a bowling ball.
Yeah, Foggy knocks him out with. Yeah, I really like that scene too.
Yeah, that was cool.
Like,
I really like the art.
Bowling ball at somebody, and who explains why the bowling ball had a name on it?
Oh, like who's walking around randomly with a bowling ball in their shopping bag? Like,
He's
buying a bowling ball.
Bag, man, he's like throwing a bowling ball at somebody.
Heavy ass gift.
They're walking in what's that place called? Times Square, or where is it? Where they have that big Christmas tree in New York?
Yeah.
I like the artwork on that whole panel. It really
looks
like
good.
There's a big tree, and when he knocks them out with the bowling ball, they're like, "What do you have a bowling ball?" He's like, "Oh, it's a Christmas gift." Like,
yeah.
That's simple enough. That'll work.
I like that they showed the name on the bowling ball.
Mhm.
I like to show that it was like he had it personalized and it was a Christmas gift and everything. It was just a random bowling ball that he was throwing at somebody. Like the reason he had the bowling ball. I don't know. That shit was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy.
But then the panel after that, you see why that one cop was helping blackmail Daredevil because his son was all sick and he needed medical attention and all that stuff.
Yeah, Kingpin got dirt on everybody, like on that sergeant. that he got caught cheating on his wife, so he uses him.
Yep. But then that dude's kid dies anyway, so he's like, all right, well let me write out Kingpin. And that nurse gets him.
Yeah, so let me show a panel here. See, this definitely has like a Moyar type feel. There's art. Moyar type feel to me. I really enjoyed it. Some of the panels there. Here's Karen Page with that abusive boyfriend. See, the moment he falls asleep, she's like calling for help. Please help me, somebody. Save me, basically.
You gotta show that what do you call it scene? Christmas one.
You have your book with you right there? Wait, now let me look for it.
Got it.
Right there. Yeah, I thought that panel was nice. A lot of detail, showed all the cars and people walking around.
Yeah, I really like that one. Yeah, that one was cool.
Yeah, I hope they touch on more of this stuff on the show, because they kind of use some of the scenes, but not too much of the story. Hope they get to some of this stuff down the road, because this is some good shit right here. So there's a lot of good stuff they could do with this could be like a whole season.
Yeah. And then what do you think about the Gangster Santa? Stabs Daredevil.
What is it? Those common hoodlums?
Yeah. His name was a Turk, something like that.
And you really see here, like, even though Kingpin is a criminal, he's desperately trying to get approval from the rich people. Like, even though he's rich himself, but from the higher society people that made their money legitimately, it's like he's desperately trying to fit in. He wants to be part of the normal, successful society. Now, he doesn't want to be seen as a criminal, which shows like he's a very sophisticated guy. Like, he's not your random street criminal. Like, he frowns on them. He's like above that. He wants to be hanging out with the Donald Trumps of the world. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I like what they did here though with Karen Page. They really showed down. Like, they're both all broken down. It's not just Daredevil. Like, this story is very dark. Like, Daredevil's really beating down. His life's taking a shit. And then you see Karen Page. Her life is all fucked up too. She's homeless. She's with this abusive guy just so she can have a place to sleep and to get another fix. She's all drug addict, like constantly.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, she wants to quit but she can't.
Right there, that panel.
Oh yeah, look, you see the perv right there. Don't worry, baby, I got what you need. You need
Well, I think the whole story is like
you need some heroin. You need a line.
Everything that he has to be burnt down in order to rebuild it. And I mean, I think it shows that, like, you know, Matt Murdock is not somebody that can be like corrupted or something like that. Like Kingpin says, like, he's the one pure soul he's ever known. You know, and that he just can't be broke.
Yeah, this really shows, yeah, like, that's what it says, Bona, he's really starting from the bottom up all over. And not just him, Karen Page, it's like a lot of depressing shit here, like they're both just, there's like two lives that are totally ruined, and how can we fix them?
Yeah.
But I mean, they kind of both throughout the story kind of go through that transformation of, like, being broke down to, like, their lowest point.
Yeah, exactly. There's two people at their lowest
turning
point,
around,
like,
and do I know?
I think that's why Matt Murdock don't get so mad when he finds out she gave away his secret identity. Then he was so broken that he knows what it feels like.
Yeah,
to that point
you know what? That's a good point. Like, yeah, when he finds out what she did, he finds out, you know what? Yeah, he's like, even though he wasn't doing drugs, he was also hallucinating and questioning shit, and you know, so yeah, how you said it, he's like, you know what? I can see how that can happen. When you're put in when somebody's broken and put in a certain situation. She was more because of the drugs, more she brought on herself. But he was also in the same situation as her, even though he didn't bring it on himself. So he can say
I
like,
thought he was kind of like a monk at that point. Like
yeah,
if
had
you
he
can
not gone
forgive
through this,
giving
he
away
might have
your
reacted. Had he not gone through this, he might have reacted differently when he found out like, oh, how could this
Yeah.
bitch do this to me?
Because even he was doing things he wouldn't do normally, you know?
Yeah, he was doing a lot of fucked up shit himself, like, 'cause
Yeah, I mean,
he was in a desperate situation. Like you said, he beat up that cop like for no reason, just 'cause
Yeah.
like, hey, this cop is corrupt, and he just started like, letting him have it. And then he's like, oh, I guess this guy's not working for Kingpin, and it's just me, you know.
Yeah, he's tripping out, thinking Foggy and everyone's against him and going crazy on them, you know?
Okay, now let's get to issue two.
230.
Yeah, let's get to this other better ones. I want to get towards the end, the latter issues.
yeah, let's get to Nuke, man, because I really freaking like Nuke.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's get to new. Now I thought up to this point to issue 231 and 232, I thought to finishing issue 231, I was giving this story. I was like, wow, this is really good. This is like a 9 for me, like it's up there. It's a really good story. And then it kind of dropped a little. It lost a few points for me when we got to issue 232 and 33. I feel like
Wait, so what issue are we on? 231?
232 when Nuke starts coming out.
Oh, okay.
Once we got to this part, I thought I was really enjoying the story, and it was a bit of a turnoff. It was
Well,
like,
we skipped the good part on 231 though.
what happens on 231?
When that one chick hangs, what's it, Yorick's wife?
Oh yeah, they're trying to kill Yorick's wife.
Yeah, they mob up to his house, they hang his wife.
Yeah, and then
Then she tries to kill him too.
yeah, that's when Murdoch reappears from the slums because he was just living on Skid Road up to this point, and he reappeared and he helped her right there. Yeah,
That was pretty trippy.
Yeah, that was an important part as far as for
232, man, I have to say, is probably my favorite cover out of this whole series.
Yeah,
I really, really like the way it's got Nuke in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And the flames and just everything. Like I say, it's kind of like a Phoenix Rising story.
Yeah.
And you've got him with those flame rounds. Freaking amazing cover.
yeah, but you're right here. This is an important issue, 231, for Yorick's character, because this is where he starts
Getting pissed and wanting to go against
he starts
Kingpin.
kind of standing up for himself more here, because he's like, hey, they came in my house, almost killed my wife, and then I think he got a little more courage knowing Matt Murdock's back, because it was never pointed out, but it's kind of implied that Yorick knows Matt Murdock is Daredevil, if I'm correct, right?
No, I think it does. No, I think it does say.
So it does say that he knows that he's Daredevil.
Matt Murdock's Daredevil.
Yeah, he knows.
Yeah, because when he's
because there was
back,
like 238 something, I think, something like that. That
like once he knows
there's
that
an initiated press leak that Matt Murdock is Daredevil or whatever, that he's like totally despondent to what's going on around him. Like everybody else is realizing that Matt Murdock is Daredevil, and he's just, he already knows that. So all this other stuff that's going on.
Yeah, what's up with that shit? It seems like it's not much of a secret identity. It seems like everybody already knew who he was.
Everybody knows who Daredevil is.
It's like, is there somebody in the story that doesn't know who the fuck Daredevil is? Like,
he's the worst superhero ever, dude.
Yeah, it's like everybody already knew. Like, it's not a surprise to anybody. Everybody already knew he was Daredevil.
And also at the end of 231, he finally sees what's her name? The chick. What's freaking
Karen Page?
Yeah, Karen Page.
Yeah.
They hug it out.
I thought that scene you said in the house was very important for Yorick, also for the fact that when he finds out Murdoch's back, yeah, he stops being less scared. He goes a little bit more boss, because I think he also feels more like, I got somebody to back my play. Like, I'm not by myself.
Yeah, going at this alone.
Yeah, I'm not at this alone. I help him, he helps me. And that also will help Daredevil because Matt Murdock needs help as well to get his name back and get some dirt on Kingpin. So he's helping in his way with information, and Daredevil's helping him with muscle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good issue. I thought that was like, yeah, it was a turning point for Ben Urich.
Yep.
But
And now we get to 232.
Yeah, once we get to this, man, I was like, I wasn't feeling this issue. I mean, the action scene. This guy seems like a cool character. I like him. He's like a Punisher, like just out nuts, going balls out, just fucking a crazy soldier, Nuke. But up to this point, the story felt like a realistic story, kind of like a thriller.
It's like the Marvel answer to Captain America, right?
Who is?
Nuke. I mean, the reason that Nuke's even out there is because of the fact they need a Captain America character while Captain America was dead. Or while he was in the ice or whatever he was.
I have no idea. This is the first issue I read with this
he's like a guy that like fought in Vietnam and you know, dealt with everything that, you know, wasn't like socially cool for Captain to deal with. I mean, that's kind of the reason he's out there. He's just like the Avenger of Justice, like Captain America, but you know.
Yeah, he seemed like
crazy.
a Punisher type character for me.
For me though, up to this point, it was good, and this kind of threw me off a little bit.
Yeah, like it totally changed the tone of the
like
story.
It was over the top. Like, where the hell this come from?
Yeah, this is like so off. When I was reading like, this is like a good Neuer, the detective, like a thriller type story. Then you get to this, like a what do you call it? A psychological thriller.
Yeah.
And then you get to when Nuke comes in, then it feels more like a superhero book.
Yeah, it comes
he's all over the top. He could jump higher, like he could jump from the floor to the second floor. From the ground like nothing and jump off helicopters and land on his feet. Like it's totally with a different tone. It totally changed the feel of the story.
Yeah, it did. Did they ever mention what each of those pills did?
Nah, they're like it's supposed to be like fucking crack or something. Like
there was a red, a blue, and a white.
Like Bucky crack.
Yeah.
Like, no, man. His pills are super soldier pills. They're like he's Captain America.
Yeah, he takes the pills and into a fucking blasting machine.
Like the red one makes him go crazy. I assume the white one like calms him down. Then take the blue one.
Yeah, they say they tell him don't take the red ones anymore because you're going too out of control.
Yeah.
Yeah, this totally like does not fit the story that was going on here. These last two issues. Even the art, the panels, they feel rushed.
Change it, yeah.
And then the story feels rushed. It's like he didn't know how to close the deal. Frank Miller, he didn't know how to wrap it up and seal the deal, how to end the story. But everything was good up to this point. It's like hurry up, we gotta just finish this story, come up with a big fight scene to end everything and it was a cool fight scene, an action scene with Daredevil and Captain America comes out and Iron Man and this whole big battle breaks out, but it's like, I don't know, that killed it for me. I really didn't like that. It's like, a weird thing going, and then you pop up with all this bullshit.
Yeah, this big ass dude, all these, it was over the top, a little too much to go what was before that.
I love this picture. This Matt Murdock and Karen Page.
Yeah, it's the one where he finally sees her.
It's like you go from having that Goodfellas where the guy's getting all broken down, he doesn't trust nobody, then it turns into Rambo where like Rambo comes out and it turns into this whole Arnold movie, those 80s action movies.
Yeah.
Man, dude, I thought that the art on Nuke was freaking amazing. I mean, his tattoos...
The art is still the style of the art is still the same, but you could tell from these other issues, the art, the panels, what was being shown, what was going on in the panels, was going along at a good pace with the writing. And then here, the panels, you could tell even on the panels, like one thing's happening on one panel.
Now look right here. You got Nuke right? And
I
then
mean,
they're over here and it's all
that's
gritty
my favorite
and
picture in the whole book, man.
got a different feel.
Yeah. Even what's going on, like in one thing, you see they're fighting on one panel, in the next panel, the guy's on a taxi driving away, Daredevil, right? So he's like one panel he's fighting, the next one he's in a taxi. Had this been a previous issue, he would have shown how that fight ended, and he would have shown how he found that taxi. Then another panel, him getting into the cab instead of just going from
Hey,
a fighting to I'm in a cab or in a high-speed chase.
right here on the
Like,
comment
whoa, what happened in
section.
between? Like,
Yeah, on the comment section, Gore, it says in Jessica Jones, a Netflix program, the police officer ex special forces take similar pills, the red and blue and stuff like that.
yeah. That the police officer is kind of like a play on this guy, I guess. Yeah,
Well, no, Nuke is the police officer in Jessica Jones.
Oh, is he?
it's like based off the same character. Just,
Oh, okay.
No,
I didn't
that's
finish Jessica Jones.
Nuke is the officer in Jessica Jones.
yeah, the cop takes pills and he goes crazy and he starts being all badass. It's basically this guy moves.
Yeah,
That's a good
but
point.
that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing with the pill y'all were talking about, is that it's super soldier, because when Captain America got made into a super soldier, everything got blown up and gone. So now, in order to make super soldiers, they have to give these pills. And during Vietnam, they gave Nuke these pills to make him into a super soldier, but much like Red Skull, where it didn't get the right, it wasn't the right medicine, he kind of went crazy. And, he's Nuke. And I really hope that the dude in Jessica Jones gets his freaking American flag tattoo on his face, because it just has to happen. So help me God, dude.
I hope he does
It's
it.
not become Nuke.
I don't mind if he's that character, but you don't need to have the face paint and all that. You don't need that on the. That will take away from the realistic vibe Jessica Jones was going for. Yeah, it is very much like a tone like how the Jessica Jones show was. That's kind of how the story is up to this last two issues. How would you have liked to see this end? Like, if you could, what would you choose for the ending here?
We're just gonna end it here. That's a good place to end it.
Because I would have, I don't know, I would have changed this whole last issue, the whole ending with Captain America. I wouldn't mind if Captain America came out towards the end, but this whole fight with this guy, and I thought, like, why is he blowing up, getting shot, he's on fire, and it doesn't hurt him. I like that they explain later, oh, he's not all human, like, he's kind of like a cyborg or something.
Yeah, like part plastic and all this stuff, something like that.
Yeah, so I like that they explained that, because that was, to me, I was like, what the fuck, like, why isn't he dead yet? And I like that it explained all that, that made me realize, all right, that's why he could jump so high and take so much punishment, and he's so strong and so forth. But I thought this character...
Overall, man, that y'all are right about the first issue not really mattering. And, I mean, honestly, the last two issues not really mattering. But, I mean, I think overall that, I mean, it's a really good story. The core part of that book with Kingpin and Daredevil is, I mean, just one of the best things I've ever read, as far as that goes. But the beginning issue, the last couple issues, yeah, not so much.
Yeah.
All right, if you had to give it a grade, what's your guys' final verdict? What grade would you give it?
What, I have to give this a rating, between 1 and 10?
Yeah.
I don't know, Mike. What do you think?
For the first issue and the last two, weren't all that, but I don't know, it's kind of hard because I really like the middle, but then the first and the last two, I didn't like so much. But I would at least give it an 8.
8? I'll give this a 7.5. I was really feeling it, so these last two issues, I was like, yeah, this is like a 9, like, this is really good. Then these last two issues kind of like, they it was a bad ending, basically.
Yeah, it
Give
just
it a 7.5.
they switched the whole vibe, and I didn't like that.
Man, until I sit down and talk with you guys about this book, I would have given this book like a 9.2. But now that I've sat down and like actually like talked it out, I mean honestly, man, like yeah, I'm about an 8, little over an 8, something like that, maybe on this book.
Okay, yeah, so that's still pretty good scores. I mean, it's a really good story. I was really digging. This is like something I have just not seen in comics of this era. It's like really good story. The dialogue is good too.
I mean, I think from this era that it's one of the better books that you're gonna read
Oh yeah, definitely.
out of the mid '80s. It's one of the better books because
Yeah,
all those books were pretty much crap in my opinion.
yeah, the way they delivered the whole story they were going for is really good. It's a lot more realistic, more grounded story compared to
Yeah.
your typical superhero comics of this time.
Yeah,
I could see why Frank Miller was like so like he's such a big name. Even though if he's not a good writer now, his name is still people who don't follow comics know Frank Miller. They're like, oh yeah, Frank Miller, 300 or Frank Miller, yeah, Sin City, right? Like RoboCop, right? Like they'll know who he is.
I'm telling you, man, up and coming dude, man. Y'all need to look out for that Frank Miller.
Yeah, 'cause it is so much better than a lot of the stuff of this time. I read Judas Contract. It's pretty good. But here they get into, if they would have gotten into detail of the whole Deathstroke origin, that's basically, if you get that trade, that's Deathstroke's origin. It's a real good story. But they don't get all into detail like this, though. They might tell it to you in 2 or 3 pages. In one issue, here you go 6 issues. I wish they would have done it like this, like, stretched it out a little bit farther than just 2 issues. Made it maybe 5. Would have been awesome. And that's kind of around similar era. I think it's from like 83 or 85 or something like that.
Well, I think Frank Miller is one of those writers that just changed the game. That you've got like artists, like in what's that guy, man? I can never remember his name. Straczynski, freaking dude that did stuff for Marvel in the '70s. Can't ever remember that freaking dude's name. I don't know. But I mean, it's like as an artist, he changed the game. And I think that like Frank Miller in the '80s really changed the game on everything that he wrote.
Oh yeah, with this and Batman Dark Knight stuff like that. Yeah, he was definitely writing stuff that other people weren't writing at that time, and they write now. But he kind of set that tone so that other creators are allowed to do the same. So that maybe the editors or whatever, like, well, this seems to be real popular. People like it. Feel free to do something similar. Like, give other writers a little more freedom.
right.
I mean, I think it's a Vertigo thing. Like when Vertigo came out, the reason those early Vertigo books are so freaking awesome is because of the fact that those people had nothing to lose.
Right.
They just threw out a story and wrote whatever. And if somebody didn't want to publish it, then they wouldn't. But they put out all that freaking great stuff. And I think that's kind of the way it was with like Frank Miller at Marvel, is that he just threw stuff at the wall and said, if you want to not take this, then fine, but otherwise
All right. So is there anything you guys would like to say to anybody out there? Any shout outs or anything before we get to our next topic? Mike?
Man, I want to say
Oh, Tom?
and
Go ahead,
got
Tom.
4 years on Sleepy Reader, man. If not for Sleepy Reader, I wouldn't even be doing videos. And so yeah, man, everybody need to go tell him happy anniversary and all that stuff, man, because 4 years on YouTube, freaking crazy.
Mm-hmm. It's a good while. You, Mike?
Let's give a shout out to Mercy. She's had a baby. And to Mac Hammer, I know he was feeling down today or
Oh
the
yeah.
other day. Tell him to get up.
Yeah, keep your head up, my boy. You know what I want to say is to Millie Acres, if you see this Daredevil review or this Daredevil chat, we'll call it chat because we just chat and throw a lot of spoilers out there. Basically, repeat the story to you, tell you what we like. Okay, so we're gonna have to do a chat as well with one of the other Daredevil books because I know you're the #1 Daredevil fan on YouTube. So I'd like to tell you that you're gonna have to do a chat with me one of these days. And also, my boy Scott, aka Running with Comics, I'm gonna keep bugging you about this. I'm gonna message you later. We have to do a chat also, so let's get a book ready that we both have that we could both have access to, so we could set something up as well. Okay, now let's go to our next topic. You guys want to talk about for somebody that's never been to a comic convention or they're planning to go to one to their first comic convention, what advice would you guys have?
Carry a bag. Take a bag. Then put your posters in. I remember one year I went to Comic Con here in San Diego and I got caught with no bag and I was carrying stuff for a while.
Like a backpack?
Yeah, backpack. Or like one of those big ass con bags.
I would even go further than like a backpack, man. I would get like some kind of a bag that's got some kind of a computer backing, so that anything you're putting in the bag has a firm backing. Some cushion to what you're doing, man. Any of those books you want to go get signed or anything like that, throw in there so that you're not, damaging your comics while you're freaking hauling around for freaking a million hours.
You can buy one of those comic boxes, those little plastic ones. You can shove like 15 of them in to keep them safe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what about how much money you think? Well, I guess it depends on what you're planning to buy. I was gonna say, like, how much money you would consider a decent amount to take to a convention.
It all depends on your budget.
Yeah, it depends on what you're aiming to look for. Well, what do you think they're good for?
I think that if you're going to like get comics signed or anything like that, you definitely need some kind of protection because you're gonna spend a lot of time in line. And you need to make sure that whatever copies you've got are, being protected that whole time that you're standing in line, man. Not just, the 3 seconds that. And also, man, on this note, I would say go watch We Love Comics video on how to get comics signed. Prepping comics for Comic-Con. Man, dude, it is like groundbreaking. I mean, the way that he talks about, cutting out a section so that you get exactly what you want signed and getting it protected so that people aren't touching your comics. Because not like, whoever your favorite artist or writer is, but honestly, man, sometimes those people have got really freaking dirty hands, and you don't want them freaking handling your comics.
Yeah, they could just manhandle your book if it's in mint condition.
Yeah, they just
throw it around and
they signed 1,000 of those books. Why would they take care with your book?
Yeah.
But I mean, Comics Man does a tutorial about how to cut out a section of your comic. And then take that comic and stick it inside a magazine bag. And when I met Colin Bunn, he thought that was like revolutionary. Like, he was like, seriously, I have to just sign right here? And I'm like, yeah, man, just sign right there.
What do you prefer when you go to a con? Do you prefer like hunting for back issues? Like when you go to a con, do you prefer you like hunting for back issues or looking for key books or do you just like go to meet? Do you just like?
If I'm going to con, I'm buying lunchboxes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, or do you just go because you want to meet the creators, get stuff signed, or?
I'm going to get books signed and meet creators and buy lunchboxes.
you might go. What
I
is it?
Lunchboxes, and cons are the best place to find lunchboxes.
You, Mike, when you go, what is your main purpose?
Honestly, I go to San Diego Comic Con, so I don't have a ticket. So I either sneak in or I try to get one from from Craigslist. So I never have a plan.
All right, so you don't have a plan. Like, what do you spend most of your time doing? Like getting autographs or looking for books?
If I get in, it depends. Sometimes I'll have like a couple issues. But I know I get in late, so I don't, I can't stand in line. If I get in late, I don't know what times people are going to be signing. But I'll look around. I'll hit up some of the guys that, like the Jim Lees and the big names. You got like an hour window to get signed. You can go to Artist Alley and find some creators and get stuff signed there.
Yeah,
I do recommend have cash.
Yeah, you look for any print. Yeah, a lot of those places. I've never been to a convention, but I go to places where they have a lot of vendors. Kind of like a convention without the creators there. Just a lot of vendors selling their books, and definitely take cash because most of them don't accept plastic.
Only that, sometimes you get like, at least in San Diego, you get bad reception, and sometimes it won't work. Take water, take a lunch.
Yeah, like when you go to Six Flags, you want to take your backpack with a few sodas and some sandwiches because you don't want to pay $12
stuff in your backpack. Pack your backpack, have plenty of water, have something to eat, and by all means, man, for the love of God, man, have freaking deodorant.
Yeah.
I mean, there is nothing
crowded,
more.
And indoors and crowded. Yeah, forget it.
Yeah, there is nothing more important, man, when you're going to a con than deodorant. Because seriously, like you stand in the middle of like a freaking West Nile freaking sewer while you're waiting to get autographs, man, or whatever. I mean, honestly, man, take 5 or 6 extra things of deodorant and give them out to the people around you.
And don't be that guy that takes like 100 books to get signed.
Yeah, by one person, not by one creator.
Play, man.
50
well, I mean, a creator generally is only going to sign like 5 books. So, I mean, yeah, but don't be that dude that's in the front of the line that's got 3,000 books to sign.
Yeah, I'm gonna take 20 copies of Spider-Gwen, Age of Spider-Verse #2, Spider-Gwen's first appearance.
I went to a con in LA and J. Scott Campbell was there, and some guy had like 50 copies of the same, comic. People were calling them out like, "Oh, all you're gonna do is resell them. You're gonna resell them. Stop signing this and that."
Yeah, well, yeah, it's true. That's what they're gonna do. When you have that much copies of one book, that's what you're gonna do. That's like a big move. Take 2 or 3, but like, yeah, because you're fucking slowing everybody else down. Like, I've gone to stores, you wanna buy a book, and then a guy goes there, and he'll get like 10 copies of the same book, and then you can't buy any because there's no more. And you're like, what?
Yeah, and that guy was a friend of me, dude. And then J. Scott Campbell was about to leave. I was like, you right here for 30 minutes signing this guy's freaking books, and I've been standing in line for like 3-4 hours, not signing my stuff.
I remember when I was a little kid, I was big into Todd McFarlane and Spider-Man, and when he left to do Spawn, I was all excited, like, yeah, the Spawn comes out this week, whatever, or this month, whatever. So we went, because we go buy back, we would, you get like $3 or $4 that your parents give you, so we'll hunt back issues, because we're like, could get 2 new books for like $1.50 each.
Yeah, I used to jack my comics.
I could get like 7 back issues for like 50 cents each. So we used to go back issue hunting at the comic shop, and when Spawn was coming out, we all go to buy our copy of Spawn. We all want to read Spawn. There's this guy there buying like 50 issues of Spawn, like all the ones in the store, basically. And we're there, we're little kids, we're like 10, and we're all of us. And when you're a little kid, you're more outspoken. So we're like, yeah, fuck this guy, this asshole. Like, we're talking to each other, but he could hear us. We're like, he took all the Spawn books, and none of us can read it.
Yeah, I hate that.
Have you guys ever tried to get any kind of commission pieces at cons?
I got a commission from Tony Daniel.
You got a commission?
You guys want to touch a little bit before we log off on what you guys think about the new announcement of Punisher getting his own show on Netflix?
That's cool. If they start reprinting some of his old books,
yeah, they're reprinting the trades. Let's see if they reprint the omnibus. They're
Hope
bringing out
so.
War Journal on trade paperbacks as well.
Yeah. But main one I want to get is the Omnibus. I don't mind in the Max.
Yeah, I'm collecting those Max and trade. I had the hardcovers, but I sold them and I'm buying the trade paperbacks. The Omnibus, if they reprint, I'll buy it, but I have all the hardcovers already of that. And those are not easy to find either. They're kind of expensive, so I'm kind of like, fuck, I go, if they reprint the Omnibus, I go, I feel like I wasted all that money buying those fucking books. Like,
Yeah.
I go, because now there won't be no need for me to get the Omnibus. But yeah, I was stoked. As soon as Marvel bought the license back for Punisher like 2 years ago, no, actually like 1 year ago, I knew right away. As soon as they said Marvel has bought the license back for Blade and Punisher, I said Punisher's getting a movie. That's what I said. That's the first thing that I think I put on Twitter. I go, Marvel just bought the rights for Punisher, so look for a movie this year or an announcement. And right away they announced he was coming out on Daredevil on Netflix. And I was like, alright, so he's not getting a movie, but he's coming out on Daredevil because they spent, I forgot how much money. And I was like, they didn't spend all that money to not use them. I go, they spent all that money because they're trying to do something with them. So I was not surprised at all once he came out on Daredevil or once he got his own show announced. None of that was a surprise. But
I think if I had to spend that money, dude, I would spend it on a Hellcat series. I mean, I would honestly rather have a Hellcat series and, you know, evolve characters out of the Jessica Jones than I would. I mean, because I believe that, like, the second season of Daredevil was basically the first season of Punisher.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, kind of.
You know, I mean, that whole thing. I mean, man, it's...
He stole the show. It was a lot more Punisher than Daredevil to me. That's the main reason.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to me, man, that when the show is called Daredevil, that you're a background character in your own show.
Yeah. I enjoyed that comic. I enjoyed that comic a lot more than I did the show. Like, first season wasn't my thing, and second season, I liked it because how you said it was more of a Punisher season than a Daredevil.
Well, I liked the second season a lot better than I did the first because of Elektra. I mean, I really...
I wasn't feeling the Elektra story that much. The Elektra storyline was kind of dull to me.
I don't keep up with the show, so it's no big deal to me.
Everything, though, that I liked about the second season, man, is that she was just, you know, crazy hot and just a badass.
One thing I hear a lot about, like, oh, how can they make a Punisher show? He's not gonna have a main villain and this and that. Punisher's villains are not popular. I have to say, I wouldn't disagree that his villains are like B-listers. They're not famous, but you don't need a big famous villain to for the show to be good. You make one through the show. You make one of these villains into a main villain and make them popular. That's like saying, well, why make a Jessica Jones show? She's not popular. You make her popular through the show. You build these villains up. That's even better for the creators because they're like, you know what? These villains don't have a big fan base, so we could build them up and mold them into how we want to present them.
Yeah.
I mean, look at shows like Law and Order, CSI. They don't have a main villain. It's just a show, you know. Like, you don't have to have a main villain, but you could develop one, which is what I would recommend. I think there's a lot of good material there in the Garth run. Also in the Punisher War Journal. It's like mostly written by Chuck Dixon, but the first few issues are by Carl Potts. I think you would look to those two titles, Punisher Max and Punisher the War Journal. A lot of material there to build a good show. A lot of years right there you could have.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm stoked for that. I'm hoping they do something with Jigsaw before he becomes Jigsaw, when he's just a regular mob guy, and how he becomes Jigsaw. I hope they go there, and then, you know, they don't kill him off, but then save him for a later season again. So we'll see what happens there. So any last words before we sign off, guys? You know, we don't want this to run too long.
Just there's some big books coming out next or tomorrow, actually.
Oh yeah, what books are coming out? Anybody that collects trades or anything? What comes out this week? Omnibus or trade collectors?
We got Gotham Central. We got Uncanny X-Men 1.
Oh yeah, we got Uncanny X-Men 1.
Guardians, Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1.
Yeah, we got a reprint of Stan Lee Spider-Man. For those of you that like that old those old issues that you know, you can't find the singles of. a great way to collect the first like 40 issues, 50 issues. And
I
they don't
know
have a lot of tie-ins because back then there wasn't so many tie-ins. So you get a full run of Spider-Man there.
Scalp comes out.
One I'm stoked for is Dan
yeah?
Abnett's Guardians of the Galaxy. You get the whole series. It's coming out tomorrow, guys. The whole series in one collection in one thick book. I hear that his run is what made Guardians, and it's the sole reason why they pushed the movie. Why they said, you know what, this run is so good, we gotta make a movie. So I
DMZ, I
recommend
know the
that.
hardcover could be hard to find. The paperback comes out tomorrow.
Which one?
DMZ.
Oh, DMZ. All right, all right. What about single issues? Anything coming out this week, Tom, that you would recommend?
Man, I think because we're all on YouTube, everybody should check out Smoosh, #1 that's coming out this week.
Who's that by?
SMOSH,
No, who's
Smoosh. They're like they're YouTube creators, man, that are putting out a book, and it's about a bunch of like kid supervillains that it kind of reminds me of that South Park episode where Cartman decides that he's going to flood the earth. You know, I mean, just sounds really, really freaking awesome to me. And Weavers, man, new Cy Spencer book coming out this week. I believe it's coming out from Boom. If you don't like spiders, don't check out Weavers, because it's all about some spiders. But man, looks really, really good.
I would say Dep H. Check that out. Written by Matt Kent. Has awesome artwork. It reminds me a little bit of Kevin Eastman's art for some reason. I don't know why. Even though it's kind of different, I don't know why it just reminds me of his art. But yeah, check that out. It's about life underwater. Some submarine goes. What happens 10 miles under the ocean type of thing. You know, check it out. Something different. Even the art is something different. And final thoughts, I would say, you know what? I'm well over 18. You know how they say I'm old enough to smoke, but I'm trying not to. So kids out there, you know, if you're watching this, you know, don't smoke. Don't even smoke those e-cigarettes. For us older cats out here, it's too late for us. You know, we're set in our ways. It's too late for us, G. But you know, stay away from that stuff, kids. Okay, anything else you guys want to say before we hop off?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, guys.
Final thoughts, man. Punisher #1, man. Buy Punisher #1 this week.
Key issue, Spider-Man. What is it? 129 or I think
Key issue,
129?
man. Key issue, man. Punisher #1.
Punisher's getting a show. Get his first appearance, guys. All right then, guys. We'll check you guys out. Oh, you know what? Before we log off, I'm gonna let you guys know. I forgot to tell everybody. Next week, we're planning to do a review on Sandman, the first trade, which covers the first, I believe, the first 8 issues. I think it's the first 8 issues. So stay tuned for that. For Neil Gaiman's Sandman, we're reading that for the first time, and we'll run through what happens, you know, the rundown, and then give our thoughts on what we thought about it. All right, guys. So that's about it. We'll check you guys out next time.
So.
They